Because I actually didn't do much quantitative analysis in NUS, right? So going towards the internship, I was just thrown in to do like is do data analysis using data, which I've never touched before. It is somewhat like maybe similar to R, but then it's also like the software itself is really different, and so it took quite a while for me to get used to it. And even then, it's like, for example, you want to do discrete statistics, right? You must go and find how to do it online, and then actually it's like 1,000 more ways to do it, and so some are like really inefficient, like some are like 6 lines of code, and then some just like 1 line. So it's quite difficult for me to find out which to actually use. And there's also a lot of different modeling methods like logistic regression, linear regression, multinomial, all this. And so it's like it's really hard to pick the correct one to use. Yes, so like sometimes it's like a lot of difficulties with like the data you're given. Like for myself was some of them were like just incomplete, and so like just can't use the whole data there, and that just proved to be another barrier. But yes.
I think for me the first thing was that I mentioned this before, but it's just very tedious. I think research. Even like people at NHG will tell you that it's very tedious. And the second thing that they'll tell you is that you need to redo stuff a lot. So you need to keep there's a lot of time that you need. So one time I did this entire task. I can't really say what it is, but I just did this entire task. But then because research, it has to be as up to date as possible, right? So because too much time had lapsed in between, and then I had to redo the whole thing. So it's like things like that. And also like another thing was that I was doing a presentation. So I was like presenting my research. But I think it's that because research is so much like complex information and you're trying to present it in like a simple and clear way. So I thought my presentation slides were fine, but my supervisor like kept making me like edit them like over and over. Like I think I did it like 4 to 5 times. Like I just had to keep redoing. And at first I was a bit like frustrated because I didn't see what was the big deal. Because it would literally just be like, oh, move this title like down there. And I'm like why is that so important? But actually when you realize that when you're presenting, it really helps to make like taking out a word or like being like more straightforward in your, even if it's just your title, like being more straightforward in it. Like all these small details really help in making your more clear. But yeah, I think overall the difficulties is just that like it's quite a tedious and it's quite repetitive, I think. Yeah.
Actually, to end off on a point also, sometimes there's also like, for example, you're working on this set of patients, right? It's like a population. And then sometimes it might just be that suddenly they change focus to another target population. So like for example, like myself, right, I was working on this group of patients for like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden I just decided to just scrap that and use another population instead. So like that 2 weeks are just gone. So this kind of stuff might happen quite a few times.
I think you need to be able to adapt to changes.
You can't get too depressed. It's sad, but I must just
move on.
deal with it. Yes, let's work on the new stuff.
I think like for me, motivated was like it was more qualitative and more patient fronting. So like sometimes you go to the clinic and you have to deal with like angry patients, and like you don't want to say. Even today there was this patient this morning. He was rushing for the airport, and then so he was like, "Oh, I'm waiting here for so long. Like, what was this do?" And if the patient is someone that we have to recruit, right, we have to try to make him calm down, like try to help him, and then try to ask him if he wants to join the study. But most of the time, they're already like super angry to begin with. They probably won't join the study, but you still have to like deal with this kind of situation. Yeah.
I think for me, maybe it's like presenting, because we have to do kind of presentations, and like I am not a very skilled presenter, I would think that. So when I have to present, I will be a bit nervous, and it takes time for me to adapt to that. But I feel like with all the different presentations, over time it seems like maybe I'm improving. So I think that's something that gave me a lot of struggle at first, but now maybe more confidence.
Because public health, you collaborate a lot with like hospitals. There's a lot about dealing with patients, but obviously patients they're suffering, from like illnesses, they're really struggling. So there is, I think, so maybe that's why you might encounter some pretty difficult or challenging like cases. So yeah, maybe like be mentally prepared for that. I think all expectations. I think maybe I just wasn't expecting like the amount of reading because it was really like 5,000 articles that you have to like sift through, and that wasn't even like the total. I think the total number was like 9,000. When I joined, it was like 5,000. So it's like, yeah, it's just really. I mean, it's not that you don't have to read the entire article, but it's kind of like it's called like title abstract screening. So you just have to like screen through them. But obviously, it's still pretty like a lot of work. So I think that was pretty out of my expectations.
For myself, right, I just remembered that I was given like a whole data set, right? And there were 952 variables inside. Yeah, like a total of like 130 patients to look at. So you can imagine the amount of data you must have to sieve through, Then you must also think about which of these variables do you actually need. So you have to look at all of it. So yeah, that was very surprising to me to see so much.
Yeah, we do like data in public health, right? When you open Excel sheet, someone sends like the prof sent, it'll be like one page, like you can see all the data in one page, or maybe you scroll a bit, but you must be prepared to see like endless data on the Excel sheet. Like you have to scroll, then it would just keep going. The column heading will be like 5 digits, 7 digits kind of letter.
Surprising, I never knew you can more than like double A.
It's like A B kind of thing. Yeah, so it's like a lot large data sets. Also like maybe I didn't expect there to be so many like different kind of tasks thrown at you at a specific time. So like back of the head, you have like operation recruitment, and now I have to do like this poster, then I also have to do this Excel formula, then I also have to do like, it's like very, very diverse tasks that you're assigned to do. So you have to like kind of compartmentalize, see where you can like finish first, something like that, like deal with your own like scheduling or whatever. But it's just the tasks are like not one by one. Like they won't just give you, oh, you do this for this week kind of things, like a lot of different tasks together.
Because I think like at all these like research places, they juggle different studies at one time. So you're dealing with very different varieties of stuff. Yeah.
I think it's more like on the job, like you don't really expect much, but
I think it wasn't so tough until like I wish I had known something. Like, I think
Yeah,
it was
actually, it was better than my
yeah.
expectations. Like the work hours was like totally.
Yeah, it was very flexible, so it was like better than we expected. So I think it was pretty. Yeah, and even we have all these challenges, but it wasn't something we felt like it was so hard to like overcome. So I don't really think there's anything I felt that I would have needed to know.
I guess the most would be the price of food there as I think for myself would be to don't hesitate to ask questions, because if you're an intern, it is expected that you don't know stuff. That's why you're an intern, correct? So you should always try your best to ask questions on things you don't know.
Because I think even they told us this. They say a lot of like NUS students, they tend to they don't dare to ask questions because they think that like, oh, we should already know this. But then you end up doing the work wrong, or you don't really know what you're doing. So yeah, you should. I think my advice would be to be very like proactive in like asking, or like one thing that my supervisor told me that I needed to improve on was that I didn't update her on like what I was doing, because your supervisor, they're very busy with their own stuff. They can't really hover over you and like monitor you. So you need to like take the first step and like go and like email them, just tell them like, hey, like I've done this for the week. Like maybe every week just like give them, like for me every Friday I would send my supervisor an email to like update her on like what was going on. So I think being like proactive and like asking questions and like updating, I think that would be my advice.
I think for me is to embrace experiences. Yeah, because I remember during the internship, one of our supervisors, she also asked me to go for focus group discussions at the polyclinics. So that wasn't related to my project, but we decided to go also and help her, and I got to see how focus group discussions with doctors and nurses are conducted, and it came in useful for what I'm doing now in one of the public health modules. So yeah, you never know, it might help you in the future. Maybe you use data, or you do qualitative, quantitative studies. All this might help you in the future. So just build on the experiences that you have through the internship.
Just to add on that, I think especially at NHG, they really make you kind of try as many different things as you can. So for example, we were all working on like different stuff, but then so they were working on some like ethics, the PI folder, what does PI stand for?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to do any of that, but they still made me go and like sit in on the talks, and like when the supervisor was like briefing them, like they still made me go and listen just so that I can learn also. So I think you have to be ready to kind of like just learn a lot of different things. Yeah.
I think like when you enter, you have to have like an open mind. You nobody will know what kind of projects you're getting until you're like actually there. Like for example, like all of us at NG, right? Like we literally sit at the same table, but we're all doing different things, like very very different things. So I feel that one thing that could help is maybe if you have a certain area that you want to like learn, because usually when we went first to the company, they were asking us like, oh, what do you want to learn from this? Like, what do you want to gain at the end of the internship? Like, you can share with them, and then they will do their best to like accommodate whatever you want to learn, like teach you that kind of skills. So maybe before you like go, you can try to see in which area you want to like know more about, or like which area you want to like dip your feet in, that kind of thing. Yeah, so if you have an idea that and the supervisors are accommodating, then it's like good for you. But if not, yeah, you have to also expect like disappointment, because like they won't have the project in hand that you want to do. So if they only have qualitative, then you're getting the qualitative.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I think for all of us,
Quite nice.
It's been a pretty positive experience for all of us. Definitely, it was how to say, not as hard as I expected at least.
NHG has really flexible hours. I think they accommodate a lot to your schedule, so I think it's less stressful. So it creates a more positive like working experience. It's not so stressful in that sense. And I think for us, like the supervisors were really nice. I think we kept talking about our supervisors.
Yes.
So they were really like they were
nice.
really nice. I felt like they really cared a lot about us and our like growth experience. And yeah, and actually we had like every week we had like an intern meeting where they just check in on us just to like see how we're doing. So like your welfare is really taken care of in that sense.
Even now they ask how we are also.
Yeah, so that's nice. So yeah, I think overall I think we all learned a lot, and it was a good experience. So yeah, we personally would do it again.